I know you have a view on this. So maybe tell us a little bit of the changes that happen and how you think it's good, or how you think it might be not for everybody.
Yeah, so recently they allowed all first-time buyers to go from a 25-year amortization to a 30-year amortization. So previously it was only for first-time buyers buying new builds. Now it's for existing homes as well. So the difference in the amortization is the entire length that you're borrowing that money for to pay off the house in full. So to get from the mortgage from the initial amount to a zero amount, that's what your amortization schedule is.
Right.
So at 25 years going to 30 years, it's a great help for people to qualify for homes, maybe that they wouldn't have qualified for before. But there's also a flip side to that. Extending that amortization is going to affect the interest dramatically, and that's the side that a lot of people aren't talking about, and why I've been, very adamant about educating people when they're making that decision. So that 5 extra years just in interest alone can cost tens of thousands of dollars. We're not talking a small amount like 5,000, 10,000. We're talking more like $30,000 to $50,000.
Right.
So it's really important that if you plan on doing a 30-year amortization as a first-time home buyer, that you have a strategy in place to maybe change that in the future, or just understand the actual true implications beyond just qualifying for a home that might have been out of reach before.
Okay, so if somebody does need it to, let's say, get them over the $400,000 threshold to get in the home they want, and they do take the 30-year, at what point would they be able to change it to maybe from a 30 to a 25-year? Does there have to be a certain amount of equity built up in the property, or like how do they make the
So
adjustment?
you can change that on your renewal. So at the end of your maturity, you become essentially a free agent at that point, where you can do as you please with the mortgage, as long as you're not changing the actual amount borrowed.
Right.
So at that point, you can, on your renewal, let's say you had a 30-year amortization at the beginning, and then on your renewal, you have 25 years because you did a 5-year term. You don't have to renew at 25 years. You can choose to renew at, say, 20 years and deduct that extra 5 years off your mortgage.
Okay.
Now, of course, at your maturity date, you can also do a whole bunch of other things. And then there's some people in certain circumstances, they might want to actually break that mortgage before the term is over, and you can change things at that point as well.
Okay, so then there are options. If you, let's say you really loved a house and it's just beyond your reach at the 25-year amortization, but at 30 it makes sense, you can make kind of like, if you're taking a 5-year term, you can make a plan to like budget in such a way that come renewal that you can make those changes.
Absolutely. So right now, it's actually not a bad idea, because interest rates are still a little bit higher than what we typically see as the average.
Yeah.
So for some people, maybe a good plan for them is take that 30-year amortization, because it fits within their budget and helps them budget for other things. And then at the renewal, when hopefully rates are a little bit lower, they can then reduce their amortization back to a normal amount
Right.
without actually changing their budget.
Okay, I love that.